Severe weather makes its presence known across the region yesterday afternoon. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, as an early spring thunderstorm moved through the North Platte River Valley Thursday afternoon, tornado sirens were sounded for the 23,000 plus residents of Scottsbluff, Gering, and Terrytown, which created widespread confusion. Region 22 Emergency Management Director Tim Newman said that the sirens were supposed to be sounded for Mitchell only and not Scottsbluff and Gering. He further indicated that there was, quote, nothing severe in the area to his knowledge. Newman later learned that deputies reported seeing a funnel cloud and brief tornado from their position on Highway 92 south of Mitchell, and they relayed that information to dispatch, who made the decision to activate the siren. Full details of the story can be found on our website at kneb.com. Well, have you ever wanted to donate to a good cause and help animals? If you said yes, then here's your chance. The Riverside Discovery Center will be hosting a fundraiser to help make upgrades to the zoo and bring in new exhibits. To participate in the fundraiser, you first have to buy a zoo membership. Then after you complete your membership purchase, you get free pond food to feed the animals. Zoo Director Desiree Drain Davison says she is excited about the fundraiser and hopes to get the community involved to help the zoo.
Yeah, we're kind of excited about this fundraiser. With the purchase of a membership, you are getting free pond food. Everybody loves the pond food at the zoo. All of the animals can eat the pond food, so we felt it would be a win-win.
The public can purchase these memberships anytime between now and June 6th. We'll have more news right after this.
Looking for free instead of fees? Platte Valley Bank can help you keep your finances moving forward with no ATM fees. Whether you're headed to the lake, the mountains, or just to the grocery store, you can enjoy the freedom of free ATM access anywhere, anytime. Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
Life Care promises us that we are looked after and taken care of properly.
If I didn't have Life Care, I would be probably scared to death about having enough money for when I got older or when I got sick.
Moving in here was an easy decision and in fact a no-brainer. I looked at it as actually buying long-term care insurance and in retrospect a good move.
One of the things that convinces me that we did the right thing is no matter what happens, we will constantly be taken care of.
The whole thing is just vital because you don't have to be worried about what's ahead for you. It's there, it's in black and white, and that's reassuring.
This is home. It has been from the day I moved in.
Welcome back. A Terrytown woman is set to stand trial next week after getting caught with a dealer amount of meth. In November, police stopped 56-year-old Tina Sanchez for failure to use a turn signal, and K-9 Duke was called in and alerted the officer to drugs in the vehicle. Police found 10.8 grams of suspected methamphetamine, a glass pipe with residue, and a digital scale. She is facing felony charges of possession of meth, 10 to 27 grams, and no drug tax stamp. A May 1st trial date has been set in district court in front of Judge Andrea Miller. Well, following a very successful Runza Day for the Volunteer Center, Brooke Samuelson and Spencer Blumenkamp with Runza presented the Scottsbluff County Volunteer Center with a $1,700 check, which represented 10% of the sales from Runza on March 28th. The Scottsbluff County Volunteer Center Director, Shanna Halstead, said they were very grateful for the ever-present support of Runza in the community. The donation will go far to provide services such as Meals on Wheels, shopping for seniors, home-delivered commodities, and many other programs to those in need in our community. Halstead added that the donation was a great kickoff to the 2024 Volunteer Appreciation Week, where they celebrate their volunteers who provide much-needed services to so many. Anyone interested in volunteering can contact the Volunteer Center at 632-3736. And what do you do with the old cycles that don't work or a perfectly good cycle that you're not using? Bring it up to Western Nebraska Community College's Harm Center Lower Bay area this Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. Keep Scottsbluff Caring Beautiful Executive Director Cassidy Baum tells KNB News that Recycle Your Cycles is a program designed mainly to keep bicycles out of the landfill. She says that donated bicycles are repaired and put into use in our community.
It's usually roughly around maybe 2,500 pounds of scrap metal and tires each year that's kept out of the landfill. You know, the last few years, I think it's between 40 and 60 bikes that we've been able to repair and donate. This year, again, Firefighter Ministry will be coming to get the bikes on Saturday, and then they're doing a bike giveaway on Sunday of those bikes. So they just, you know, the person that wants the bike has to be present. They just try to make sure that it's not the same people year after year coming and getting bikes.
This program provides bicycles to people in need and organizes community volunteers to work together and keep unwanted materials out of our landfill.
Welcome to Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. Whether you're a wine enthusiast, a whiskey sommelier, a tequila connoisseur, or you just love your beer, Kelly's has the best selection of what you're looking for. Family owned and operated since 1946 and right on 27th Street in Scottsbluff. Come see us today at Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. And remember to be a good neighbor. Don't drink and drive. Kelly's Liquor, West 27th Street in Scottsbluff.
Fly United Airlines, operated by SkyWest with Western Nebraska Regional Airport. United is dedicated to going the extra mile for you with daily flights to and from Denver, along with a commitment to excellent service. Reserve your flight today, and remember, United miles can be earned and redeemed with your flights. While at the airport, stop and enjoy authentic Italian food at Roma Italian Restaurant. Plus, Hertz Thrifty Car Rental is there for your car rental needs. Make life easier, relax, and get on board with Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
Welcome to this week's Cattle Call. I'm Susan Littlefield on the Rural Radio Network. And we talked about this last week about the headlines and how much we seem to grab a hold of them. Not us, but just the news in general. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with the latest news that's been moving, affected the cattle. But Moy, I tell you gotta love the way these markets finished out on a Thursday. As Brad and I are going to be talking, we're going to talk about the big jump we saw in the cash. We're going to talk about some troublesomes out there, though, as well, affecting this market trade. So a lot to unpack today. As I just mentioned, Brad Koima joins us. He's with Koima Varlick out of Sioux Center, Iowa. And what do you want to start with, the good, the bad, or the ugly, Brad?
Well, how about first, thanks for having me on, and thanks for having me on Thursday instead of Wednesday, right?
Yeah, no kidding. It worked out with our schedules.
It's a lot more fun to talk about up days, of course. A lot of what you said in your pregame there, it really does say a lot. So this whole bird flu situation, right? I thought maybe last week we had sort of put it to bed because we really didn't talk much about it. I didn't think the market talked about it a lot. We spent some time talking about Iran, Israel, all that other stuff. So it was kind of discouraging. It's making the news now. It was on the front page of the New York Times this morning, I understand. And it was also part of the CBS National News last night and this morning. If you listen carefully, it to me, it doesn't sound terribly inflammatory. They usually at the end of these programs or these articles, there is assurance that, hey, this milk has been pasteurized. That's why they do that, to kill the viruses and the germs and stuff in there. So it's safe to drink, and the meat is safe to eat. But obviously, after I was guilty of underreacting initially to COVID, and I think maybe more people were. And so, you're extra sensitized to, I better make sure that I really think about, could this really be that kind of a factor again? Now, I don't think it's anything like COVID. I'm not a scientist. I am a speculator, so I do understand that part where the speculator says, well, I don't know if I should be participating in a market that's this uncertain. So that's the rub. So at the end of the day, what do you do as an analyst? I can tell you what I do. Finally, I go like, well, I'm going to trust what I think I know. And what I think I know is that the available supply of cattle in the north is very short. This notion that we've got all these cattle placed in this wall of cattle to come in the first quarter of the year. Well, guess what? The first quarter of the year is behind us, and we killed 5% less cattle. So, are they all backed up and they weigh 2,000 pounds? No. Weights are big, but I mean, to me, it's more of a function of good weather that has increased the weights a little bit. But I don't know. To me, it was a day today where after we got through the first break and, worried about what the impact of the latest bird flu story was, then, of course, we were greatly impacted by a sharp sell-off here in the stock market. It's still lower, but what GDP, jobless claims, whatever, they didn't come out like they wanted them to, right? There's a report about every 15 minutes, it seems like, over there. And so we were, down a chunk, 700-800 on the Dow. And that, of course, seems like down days always seem to relate to the cattle market that way. So that was number one, bird flu, number two, stock market. And then cash is king was number three. So that was kind of fun to see how that worked out.
It's nice to be able to end that list with some good positive, and kind of give us your takeaway on this big jump that we saw in the cash. I mean, you talked about the north being short. They need the cattle. And
it was nice to see it proof in the pudding. Yesterday, the trade in the South was basically 182, which was steady, which I actually thought was a little bit encouraging, given the way the market was wobbling here and worried about everything. Then this morning, there was just a little bit of trade at 183 in Kansas. So that seemed to kind of like give everybody a little more of a swagger. We were getting bid 184 in the North. Now the quality of the cattle in the North, I think, commands a premium to the cattle in the South. And I also would submit that I think the overall supply of cattle in the North is less than what the crowd thought it was going to be. So, as I've said on here before, the beginning and end of all markets start in Iowa on the cattle. Sorry, don't take that as being cocky just because I'm from here, but I mean, it's the North because our supply is seasonal. It changes, or we're farmer feeders. So if we're a backlog, typically it's us because we have maybe a weakness of fighting the market, falling in love with your last set of calves, whatever it is. So there's that, but so we should be a premium, and we have been. So last week it was 184. I was encouraged by the resolve of the feedlots to say, no, we're going to ask higher. We don't think we think you need some cattle. And then for a little while today, I had three packers all trying to buy cattle at 85. Okay. Then I had two of those three. Would you take 86? There's a few cattle moving at 86, but there's been a handful of cattle that's actually traded to a regional at 187. Pretty salty, 2 to 3 higher. How about that? So it's nice to see a fundamental thing that actually seemed like it was the right thing today. Said that. What I fret about is, and I can't prove this because there's no transparency, but as that blurb was coming out the other day, I think that there are algorithms that are built on headlines, that the certain phrases come together, that an algorithm, a computer, in other words, that's programmed to do that, will say beef and ban in the same sentence. Oh, we better sell 500 or 1,000. I can't prove all this, but that's how the market gushed there. And you're going, geez, what happened? In the old days when you had a pit, somebody would say, well, it sounds like Columbia's going to not let us sell beef to them. And they'd go, well, how much did they buy from us? Nothing. Okay, no big deal. Right. and we'd move on. But you're right. And that's a little lead into maybe what I should give my disclaimer a little bit here of is tomorrow is Friday. Last time I checked, Fridays have been the difficult because the long speculator goes, well, what's going to happen this weekend? Are we going to get some news out of Iran, Israel? Are we going to get some more news, breaking news, different news out of the bird flu thing? So tomorrow might be a little interesting. Don't be surprised if we give back a little bit of this big rally today, but the cash had a monster day and that's got to help, especially when you're discounted as severely as we are here.
Yeah, we'll take that positive hands down. Brad, what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
kkbtrading.com, or the phone number is 712-722-0023.
All right, that is today's Cattle Call. Headlines and all that recycle themselves. A quick reminder, commodity futures and options do involve a substantial risk of loss, not suitable to all investors. That's this week's Cattle Call on the Rural Radio Network.
Benzel Pest Control has been the Wyoming and Nebraska area's most committed professional pest control company. We have 4 generations and nearly 50 years of experience serving Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado, as well as certified entomologists on staff. So whether you're dealing with spiders, wasps, rodents, or any other unwanted visitors, give Benzel Pest Control a call today for an estimate at 888-229-2128 or visit our website at benzelpestcontrol.com.
The community calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. We're local and we love our community.
You deserve to have a building that will last for generations. With more than 110 years of experience and thousands of satisfied customers, Morton Buildings is the industry leader you can trust. If you're planning for a garage, farm shop, horse barn, storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, there's no better time to buy. Contact your local Morton sales office or visit mortonbuildings.com to get started today.
Tired of feeling stuck? Not sure if you are on the right track? Platte Valley Bank can help keep your finances moving forward with checking account options to fit your lifestyle and an online account chooser to make finding the right account easy. Control your financial future with helpful budgeting tools and automatic savings plans. Now is the time to enjoy the ride with Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
And finally tonight, scenic Panhandle vistas will be the focus during this weekend's airing of the TV show Are We There Yet? Hosts Patrice and Kevin McCabe travel the country in their motorhome, and in this weekend's episode, they explore the Wildcat Hill State Recreation Area and Chadron State Park. At the Wildcat Hills, their activities include shooting air rifles and archery. And at Fort Robinson, they enjoyed trout fishing and a guided jeep ride to the top of the Cheyenne Buttes. Patrice, a Lincoln native, said she had never been to this side of the state and was completely blown away, calling our area gorgeous. The show airs at 6:30 Saturday evening on the Discovery Channel and Discovery Plus. Well, that does it for us this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday.